All right, so I want to talk about that national championship game between Michigan and Washington. It was an interesting one. First off, congratulations to the Michigan Wolverines for winning a national championship. I mean, there's nothing in sports like a championship. It's what you work all year for, so congratulations to those Wolverines. This was definitely one of those championship games where you could feel it teetering in a certain direction from the very beginning. One team controlled the tempo from start to finish. It felt a lot like Super Bowl 45 in that sense between the Packers and the Steelers. That game started, and you could just tell that the momentum was in the Packers' favor. They controlled the tempo, they controlled the flow of the game. It was their game. It was their game, it was their night, and they were controlling it. That's how it felt for Michigan immediately out of the gates, and one of the biggest reasons for that, one of the biggest contributors to that, was Michigan's run game. It was absolutely lethal. It was unstoppable. The push up front that Michigan had was unreal, and Donovan Edwards was electric. He had two 40 plus yard rushing touchdowns in that game. Phenomenal. Just broke away. He had a wide open field in front of him that Michigan offense just completely manipulated Washington from a physical standpoint, carving out those holes, and Dobbin Edwards' speed was able to just capitalize on that gap. It was great. 303 total rushing yards for Michigan. That's one of those stats that Josh Pate would call a padlock stat. When a team has over 300 rushing yards, they're most likely going to win. It's like when you have over 400 passing yards, you're most likely going to win the game. And Michigan did. You usually, as an opposing team, you usually can't come back against something like that. J.J. McCarthy, he only had to throw 18 passes all game. It was just that kind of game. The run game was flowing. It got tight at some points. You could feel it was one of those games. Even when Washington got tight, even when the lead wasn't as large, it felt like it was larger, just because Michigan had that much control. They could be within one possession, but it felt like more. If Michigan had like a 7 point lead, it felt like a 14 point lead. It was that kind of night, and it got a little tight for Michigan sometimes, but they still generally just controlled that tempo. The run game was working. The pass game was mediocre, but that's all that's all that it had to be. That's all that it had to be. J.J. McCarthy only had to throw 18 passes. That was the game plan. A lot of it was on the grounds. Washington did not have the defensive front in the secondary to keep up with that. You tell it looked a lot different. This now puts that Alabama game, the Rose Bowl, into a lot more perspective for me, because both teams kind of struggled to move the ball a lot, and that's a testament to those defenses. Both of those defenses, Alabama's and Michigan's, were just so incredibly gritty, so incredibly physical. So now you see how Michigan struggled on offense against Alabama. You see just how impactful that Alabama defensive front is. Then you place them against Washington, and they're running all over the fields. Those defensive fronts, they make all the difference. It can really change a game, and that was the disparity. Michigan had the better defensive front. They had the better push on the offensive front of the ball. They really won this game in the trenches, and that showed. That showed. When you're superior in all facets in the trenches, you're usually gonna win. Let's talk about Washington. They just simply didn't have their fastball in this game. There's some nights where you just go out there and you don't have your fastball. You ever play beer pong and you're shooting and every time it goes off the rim or goes in and out of the cup, it feels good because it's going in and out of the cup. You just don't have your fastball. That was Washington tonight. The ball was just going off the rim of that red Solo cup all night long, and there was not a damn thing they could do about it. It was just that kind of night. And I have to credit Michigan's defense, because I think that they got Washington out of that flow and out of that rhythm that they were in against Texas. But even still, I think even without the impact of Michigan's defense, Washington was just, they were out of their rhythm. They did not have their fastball. They did not have the same impact and flow, the fluidity and offense that they had against Texas. And grant, Texas' secondary is significantly worse than Michigan's. They still just did not have that fastball. And it was not being able to connect on big plays. You saw multiple big plays. That one Rome Odunze catch that would have gotten Washington way down the field in the Michigan's territory got taken back from a penalty. You know, penalties are racing big plays, or the one play where Michael Penix Jr. just simply overshot a wide open Rome Odunze. It was frustrating nights for those two in their connection. Very frustrating night. Just completely airmailed him. It was wide open. It would have been a touchdown. Overthrew him. When opportunities were there, Washington just couldn't execute. They fumbled the bag when opportunities were presented to them, and that's something that you cannot do, especially in championship games. So it was just big plays, drops, overthrows, just miscues. There's a night of miscues for Washington, and it's frustrating if you're a Husky fan. It really is, because it's a game that you really thought that you could have won going into it. Michael Penix Jr. looked a lot different this week than he did the week before. It's not a referendum against him. You see it with quarterbacks. Some days you're amazing. Some days you can throw across the field and you're just connecting with an open receiver. It's just everything you touch is gold. It's that kind of day. And then there's other days where you can't hit the broadside of a barn, and so you're out of your flow. You're out of your rhythm. It's being a quarterback. Michael Penix Jr. is still an amazing quarterback, a great prospect. I think he'll benefit any NFL team that drafts him. One of, if not the best quarterback in college football this year. Amazing. But tonight, the national championship game, it was just not his night. 2 interceptions. It's very uncharacteristic of him. A lot of just mistimed passes, not on the same page with receivers. It was not the night for that, but that's what it was. And the speed and the physicality of Michigan's defense, I think it really startled Washington from the start. I think it did. I think it got in their head very early on, and Michigan established a psychological advantage, and they just won from there. So that's the game in a nutshell. That's my reaction. One person that I want to acknowledge from this game, one person I'm very happy for, and I want to celebrate his success, is Jim Harbaugh. Because this is a guy that has been through it. When it comes to trying to get that ring, he's been through it. I remember Super Bowl 47, 49ers-Ravens, when the lights went out, infamously. San Francisco was dominating Baltimore. Jim was going to get his ring, and the lights went out. The game stopped for, I think, over half an hour, and then it resumed, and Baltimore came all the way back and won. And then the year after, fast forwards, there's that 49ers-Seahawks NFC Championship. Of course, that's where there's the tip pass from Richard Sherman, the interception off of Crabtree. And Seattle wrapped that thing up. And soon after, Jim Harbaugh left the Niners to go to Michigan. And there was that Ohio State game with the Curtis Samuel game-winning touchdown. There's been the past 2 playoff appearances for Michigan. They lost to Ohio State a lot. And there's the last 2 playoff appearances that Georgia lost. They got the doors blown off of them. And then the loss to TCU last year, which was stunning to the program. And now finally, just being able to execute, deliver, and get that ring. I'm very happy for Jim Harbaugh. He's one of the, love him or hate him, he's one of the best in the business. And the guys deserve that ring for a long time. So congratulations to Jim Harbaugh. Congratulations to the Michigan Wolverines football team, to the athletic program, to the university overall, to the students, the alumni, and the fans. Congratulations. You got your ring. Embrace it. Have a great day. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really appreciate you and the time that you took out of your day to watch the video. And if you enjoyed it, please be sure to like the video and share it, as well as subscribe to The Era. The more likes and subscribers I get on this channel, the more resources I can attain, and the more resources I can attain, the more value I can provide to you, the viewer. And that is how I show my appreciation for you for the time that you devote to watching my videos. So thank you so much, and have a great day.